Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to the Train Aid HQ. My name is Nick, and in today's video, we are going to be looking at how to teach on Zoom. So this is our Zoom tutorial, and if you are preparing for your very own Zoom micro teach, or if you're looking to teach on Zoom permanently, then this video is going to explain the very basics of how to teach on Zoom. If you're new here, please do like the video and subscribe to receive the latest news and alerts from the team. So let's get started. So in today's video, we are going to be looking at how do I share my screen on Zoom. We're going to also look at your video and audio settings if you are preparing for your micro teach, or if you're looking to, of course, teach on Zoom permanently, how to establish ground rules with your learners on Zoom, how to ensure that learners have got their names on as well. And we're also going to be discussing screens on and screens off. We're also going to be looking at how to establish icebreakers, some tips for those, how to use breakout rooms, how to record on Zoom, very important, how to chat to delegates, how to use the whiteboard settings, how you can share documents, how to play a video in Zoom, how to make someone the host, and how to use reactions such as emojis as well. So over the purpose of the video, hopefully you're going to pick up a few tips and hints as well. But once again, we are going to make sure we record a range of different Zoom videos for the channel. So let's get started. How do I share my screen on Zoom? Okay, so the button that you need to look out for is this green one, which is the share screen. Okay, so it's very important that, let's say, if you want to share a PowerPoint like I'm doing now, is that you have your PowerPoint open and you minimize your PowerPoint so it's ready to go. And when you're in a Zoom meeting like this one, all you need to do is you need to click on that share screen icon, and you will open the browser, and then all you can do is upload your PowerPoint to the screen, so it will fill the screen. It's very simple to use. With teaching on Zoom myself, I always say it's best to keep your PowerPoints simple. My style is I quite like a plain background with Comic Sans text, and also trying to keep your text as a minimum, because you can elaborate, you can explain on your key points as well. Okay, so just be mindful with PowerPoints. The best thing to do is to keep them simple. But once again, if you want to share your screen, all you need to do is you need to just go onto that button there. So I'm just going to stop my screen there, and it's very, very simple. You just literally pop back on to your PowerPoint like that. So I've just done that now. So you can obviously stop the share with that green button. Okay, the share the screen. Okay, so it just takes a little bit of time to get used to, but if you click on that new share button just on your panel, which is the bottom of your screen on Zoom, then it's very, very easy to share your screen. Okay, so that's the first bit of advice. The next one is audio settings. So obviously when teaching on Zoom, you need a nice quiet environment. Okay, now I have got obviously a headset on here, which is very, very useful, and a mic so you can hear me clearly. But what you can do, obviously, is you can have a nice quiet environment. Obviously, we're here in the Train Aid HQ, but you can obviously make sure if you're teaching from home, it's nice and quiet. There's no distractions around you. But also, you can test your speaker and microphone as well. So once you're in Zoom, clicking on the expanding arrow to the right of the microphone icon opens the audio settings. So you just need to click on the audio, click on that arrow there, and you can test the speaker and microphone as well. So it's worth doing that. Okay, and you can obviously test your speaker, your sound, your microphone, so your fellow learners can hear you. You don't have to invest in one of these headsets. You can obviously speak to your learners through the laptop, through the audio system, through the speaker system, but you have to make sure that your environment is nice and quiet. So have a play around with the audio settings and just to make sure there's no background noise there as well. My next advice is video settings. Okay, so obviously with Zoom, okay, you are going to make sure that your video is nice and clear. Okay, and there are some settings which can help you to do that. So with the video icon, it's on the bottom left of your screen. What you can do is you can come to a page like this, and it has the video settings as well. So what my advice is if you click on video, you come up to the camera settings as well. And there are some really cool features here. So it's called Touch Up My Appearance, where there is a slider, and that can make your actual display darker. It can make it lighter depending on the lighting within the room. And you could also click on Adjust for Low Light as well. So if you click on Auto, that renders quite a light approach, and you should be able to obviously get better visual displays there. But it does take a little bit of time to obviously get used to that. And there are some other features as well on Zoom where you can blur your backgrounds. Okay, so I'm here within obviously the Train 8 HQ. I've got obviously the Train 8 screen in the background, but you just need to click on your settings and you can blur your backgrounds. You can unblur it, so I'm back to normal now, or you can change and have a virtual setting as well. So it does take a little bit of time to get used to. If you simply right click just on yourself, then you can just add a virtual background, a video filter, an avatar, and it's really, really useful. So do have a play around with that. You could find obviously the setting which most suits you. Okay, there are a range of different ones, and as you can see, you just need to play around with the settings to see which one suits you. So I've obviously got the Train 8 sign in the background. That's our TV. So I think that's fine when presenting on Zoom. I think it looks quite professional. So moving on, let's get into, I guess, the nitty gritty of teaching on Zoom. So when starting your micro teach or starting a new course, it's really important to establish ground rules with your learners. So I always think it's important to let them know the timings of the lesson, okay? And if they have any rest breaks as well, and also whether they're going to be using mobile phones or not. Obviously, there is Socrative and Menti, so you can, of course, utilize your mobile phones with your learners, but that's completely up to you. So really do establish the ground rules from the start. If you want your learners' full attention, you could say for my 15-minute micro teach, please put your phones to one side and on silence. And also, it's very important to let your learners know whether you would like to see them. Okay, I personally like to see all of my learners that I'm teaching to. So you could ask everyone, please put your screens on as well. Okay, obviously, if you're teaching a longer course, a longer duration, perhaps let them know about rest breaks, because if you are teaching full time on a screen for an hour or 2 hours, it's very important to give your learners time to come away from the screen and have those adequate rest breaks there. Questions as well. You can also say that, you know, any question can be asked, or you can put the question into the chat box as well, which I'll come on to very shortly. So you could ask if perhaps learners are quite sensitive, they don't want to ask verbal questions to you, the teacher, they could put a question into the chat box as well. And of course, to reiterate, it's a safe and supportive training environment that everyone should feel included, secure within the training environment, and any questions they feel that they could ask, you know, please do so as well. So just any ground rules, I think, is a really good thing to starting your micro teach or teaching a new class on Zoom as well. So make sure you do those to really set the ground rules and the expectations there at the beginning. Learner names. So learner names is I think really key when teaching on Zoom. Okay, and I would say it's very important to ask learners to have all of their names on, so their first name. So keep it simple. So no nicknames, just their name. And to do this, you can simply click just on your video, and it's very simple. You can just click rename. Okay, so you just click rename. I'm just going to do this now. I'm just going to change from my email to Nick. Okay, and your name will appear just on the screen. So it's really simple. And when you are teaching to learners, I always like to ask them questions by name to obviously get to know them. So really do sort of say from the start, can we all change our names to our preferred name? Okay. Many learners might be sharing Zoom accounts with their family members, for example, or their colleagues. So they might have a company name. So it's very important they change their name just at the start when you're teaching a new class as well. So it's very important you get to know your learners and asking them those nominated questions as well. So hopefully that's nice and clear and some good teaching advice. Now, the next key feature on Zoom is obviously screens on and screens off. This is, of course, up for debate. My personal preference is screens on, and you can have a gallery view when you're teaching on Zoom, so you get to see everyone, and I prefer that style, okay? If you're teaching to a large group, if you're teaching to say 30 people, you could say, all right, everyone, you could have your screens off if you prefer, but I would like for you to, when I ask you a question, is to unmute yourself, and I'd like for you to answer my question as well. So if you're teaching within, say, a lecture style to 30, 40, 50 people, okay, screens off, that's fine. You can have your screens on or off. But when I ask you a question, I would like for you to unmute yourself and answer my question as well. So if you're teaching a 15-minute micro teach to, for example, 12 people, screens on is going to be a good procedure there, because it's very important for things like breakout rooms. You want to get to know your learners, and your learners want to get to know their classmates. It's really fun that way. So it's very important that you reiterate, if you're teaching to a small group of learners, then screens on. But obviously, if you're delivering training to multiple people, many people, then I guess they can have their screens off. It just depends on your style of teaching there. So screens on or off is completely up to you. Okay, just moving on to icebreakers. So I think after the ground rules, it's very good to go through with an icebreaker to ease learners into a course, or to start your micro teach, or to start the teaching day. So a typical icebreaker I do on Zoom is get your learners into pairs. And I also utilize breakout rooms here. This is where learners go off in pairs to a breakout room, and they obviously go off in pairs, and together they will find out their classmate's name, their reason for doing the course, their hobbies and interests. And after about 5 minutes, I bring everyone back into the room here, and I ask each delegate to introduce their partner. So that's a very quick fire way of obviously getting to know your fellow learners, and for them to introduce themselves to the group as well. So that's a typical icebreaker on Zoom, but there are many more which you can use as well, such as two truths and a lie. That's quite fun, although it's quite lengthy. You could just get learners just to introduce themselves to the group and their previous knowledge of the subject. So once again, that's a very quick fire icebreaker, that. So everyone introduce themselves and their previous knowledge of your subject matter. You could just get everyone to introduce themselves and say an interesting fact about them. You could even ask group members to show a photo of their pet, for example. So that's quite fun. That's interactive. But you could also jazz things up. You could have perhaps a virtual background discussion. So everyone might have a different virtual background, and you could say, oh, why have you chosen that virtual background for the course today? Something which is fun, and it's going to really break the ice and get your classmates to know each other. So have a go of any of those tried and tested icebreakers there. Now, our next key topic is how do I use breakout rooms within teaching? Okay. There will be another video looking at this in depth, but for now, I'm just going to show you just the icon for breakout rooms. So when you've got a group of learners and you would like for them to go off into different groups, then you just need to select breakout rooms. Okay, so you just need to go onto your panel and you just need to select breakout rooms, and there will be a box which appears like this, where you just need to create the number of breakout rooms, and you can either assign automatically, assign manually, or let the participants choose the room. Okay. Once you choose, let's say, 3 breakout rooms, you will either put your learners into those 3 rooms, or they will be assigned automatically. They will go off into their rooms, okay, and then you, the teacher, can recall them back after about, say, 5 minutes, and then you could ask them questions on what they discussed. But you have power of when they need to return to the main room here, and there'll be a countdown as well. So learners will be ejected from those rooms after the countdown. But once again, there will be a separate video where I will explain breakout rooms in greater detail. But do have a look out for breakout rooms and do trial it before you teach your course as well. Okay. The next one is obviously, how do I record on Zoom? Okay, this is nice and simple. We're recording this video at the moment, but just on your Zoom panel, you'll see obviously the record icon there. All you need to do is click on that and it will record your lesson. Okay, so recordings are really useful as a teacher to obviously watch them back and to obviously see how you can improve as a teacher. Now, once the recording is finished, there's 2 options. You can obviously click for the recording to be recorded to the cloud or your computer as well. So just be mindful of that, where you would like for your recording to go. It is an MP4 file and you can download it. You can upload your recording to YouTube as well. But the record button is that one there. Okay, it's nice and simple to complete. Okay. Now, just moving on is how do I chat to delegates on Zoom? So once again, there might be learners who might be a bit shy or want to ask you a question, and that's fair enough. And there is a very, very simple way to do that. So just along your panel, there is a chat box, okay? Now, what you can do is you can begin a private chat with individual members where you can send a message, or you can chat to the entire group. So you just need to be careful when using chat. You just have to make sure you're either using private or group. So you don't want a message that was going to be to one learner to go to the entire group. So you just err with caution here. But of course, it's a great way for you to check in with your learners, and you don't need to obviously verbally ask them. You can type and you can ask them a question that way as well. So that is the chat box there, and you can either select private or a group chat, and it's just along your panel as well. So do have a go of using the chat box. So once again, there will be another video which I will go into greater detail about using chat, but it's a really useful tool. The next tool or the key feature is how to use whiteboard in Zoom. Okay, so when you are in a Zoom meeting, you can click on the green share icon, okay, along the panel, and you can click on a new share and the whiteboard will appear as well. I'm going to demonstrate this within a moment, but this is what it looks like just on the screen here. So it's got a range of different features. It's got text, it's got drawing, But the great thing about a whiteboard is that you can listen to the group and you can write down some ideas. So you can come up with, a range of different pointers which your learners have fed back to you as well. So I'm a huge advocate of using whiteboards. And the good thing is you can save your whiteboard, you can download it, you can share it with the group members. So not only have they got a recording, but they'll have an annotation of the whiteboard as well. So to do that, we just click on Stop Share. We come away from the main presentation and we just need to go on to a new share as well. So just remember that green button and you just click on whiteboards. Okay. And I am just going to go on to Whiteboard Classic. Hopefully this has filled my screen now. Okay. And I am just going to show you how we can use whiteboard here. So it's got a range of different features. So you can type in your features there. Okay, you can move the text around. And you can ask questions to the group. You can type some questions. You can obviously change the color. You can also use lots of drawing tools as well. So, oh my, so my drawing's not that great. Okay, so you get the idea. So name 5 roles of a teacher, name 5 responsibilities of a teacher, and so on and so forth. So we can get some ideas from the group members, and you can list down their points of view as well. So it's really fun and interactive there. Okay, so I'm just going to go hopefully just back to my PowerPoint now. Let's go back onto that. But once again, there will be a video looking at the whiteboard in depth, but it's a great way to kind of move away from, teaching using slides and, changing by going onto the whiteboard feature as well. Okay, just moving on, another key feature is how can I share documents with my class? So just using the chat button again, which we've talked about, at the bottom, there is a file, a file button. And if you were to click on that, then you can essentially open a file from your desktop. So it could be a Word document or a PDF file. And the good thing about that, if you attach a file, it will go into the chat. You can share this with everyone, or you can share this with individual learners as well. And so what they can do is they can click, they can open, they can download that file. Okay, so it's incredibly useful for sharing work. I use it as a teacher to share marking as well with learners. Okay, so that is just a section from the chat feature where you can click on file once again, and you can drop in your document. So whether it's a Word document or a PDF file, it's incredibly useful. Okay. Just moving on is how to play a video in Zoom. Okay, now there are a number of ways in which you can play a video in Zoom. First of all, you can essentially copy the URL. You can copy the website, for example, from YouTube, and you can put that into the chat box and send that to learners and say, okay, I've just sent you the YouTube link. I would like for you to go off now, and I'd like for you to watch that YouTube, that video in your own time, and just put yourselves on mute. Okay, so it is a way to do that. So you can just obviously send the YouTube link on the chat box there. But if you're looking to play your YouTube video on the full screen, that's not a problem. So you just need to stop share, okay? And then you go on to a new share, okay? Once again, using that that icon, and you just need to find the video, okay? So you just need to go on and you just need to find the video that you would like. So I'm just going to go onto our Train Aid YouTube channel now, and I'm going to find a video to play. So once again, so you can play a video to your class members just based on YouTube, for example. So my advice is that you ask learners to put themselves on mute whilst the video is playing. Otherwise, they get lots of feedback. But that way, you can obviously share the video. You can play this, and learners can obviously see the video there. Okay, but that is a tried and tested way of using the video. You can, of course, embed your video into your PowerPoint, and instead of going off onto to YouTube, you can just click on the embedded video, which is within your PowerPoint as well. So it's all to do with sharing the video as well. So I'm just going to go back just onto our main PowerPoint there. So hopefully that's nice and clear on how you can share your video. You just need to make sure that you have it ready for a new share as well. But we'll do a video on that. Okay. A common feature is I get asked is how can I make someone the host? Okay, so when you have got your participants within Zoom, what you can do is you can hover over one particular learner and click right click, and then you'll have a range of features such as chat, rename, but you can make them the host. So you're passing over the reins from yourself. You're giving the controls to a fellow learner as well. So they will be able to share their screen and they perhaps can deliver their PowerPoint to the class. So once the participant has control, they will be able to deliver their own micro teach as well. I would say just make sure that everyone is confident with being made the host, because obviously you have to obviously become the host back as the teacher. So once the learner has stopped presenting, they need to click on your box and they need to make you the host again. So once again, it does take a little bit of time to get used to this, but when a delegate is the host, they are able to, of course, share their own screen as well. One of the final bits of advice is how to use reactions in Zoom. So reactions are really fun. Okay, so if you are asking a question and you're saying to everyone, is everyone okay with that? So typically the thumbs up emoji signifies that everyone is okay, and then you can move on. You don't have to wait for everyone to say yes. There is also a raised hand emoji as well. There's a different type of emoji. There's a celebration emoji, there's a surprise face. Emojis are really fun, and what you can do is you can obviously get your learners to become confident with this. They can click to raise a hand, okay, and this way with a raised hand is that you are going to see that they have a question, and that's actually a good thing as well. So if you see a raised hand, then you can say, oh, that person has got a question. Please do ask your question, so they're not interrupting you mid-flow. So if you're teaching to the group, someone puts up their hand, oh, I can see they've got their hand raised. I'm going to finish my point and I'll come back to them and I'll find out what their question is. So it's really good when using reactions. And once again, where do you find that? So just along your panel, click on reactions, and you've got a range of different reactions there as well. So it's a great way of obviously showing that you are listening to your learners, but they can ask you a question, but they can obviously raise their hands as well. Okay. And that is the end of our, I guess, our whistle stop tour on Zoom. So hopefully after today's video, you've picked up a few different features. Now, we will, of course, go into those main points in greater detail. We will have a channel on how to teach on Zoom. But thank you so much for watching. If you've got any questions regarding our different teaching courses, please do get in contact. Just have a look on the YouTube channel for the latest videos, and also Instagram as well. And please give us a call if you've got any questions about our courses. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you on one of our future courses. Bye for now.